Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell by the title, I will be sitting and chatting and telling you guys about my labor and delivery story. I'm trying to record this video before he wakes up, so we'll see how that goes. About 2 weeks leading up to the day I gave birth, I was doing all sorts of stuff because I was going so good until I hit about 37 weeks. It was just like, oh my god, I was so exhausted and I just really couldn't do anything. I would always be swollen without even moving around much. I would just be so big and swollen. I was retaining a lot of water. So I was trying everything to induce labor. Spicy food, talking. There are people who are gonna judge castor oil. I was drinking raspberry leaf tea for about a month leading up to the day of my birth. I tried thyme tea, which my grandma suggested. I did the activating labor dance. I did the activating labor exercises. I was twerking. I was doing, listen, I took everyone's advice and I was doing everything. I was just like, I cannot do this any longer. And mind you, I was in this little this group with a group of mothers. It was this app, What to Expect, and then there's a group of mothers who were all due in September. I was in that group, and everybody was having signs of labor. Even persons who went to the same place that I go to for care, everybody was they were all having signs of labor. Even some passing their mucus plug, some having contractions but not regular enough to go in. Everybody was just having symptoms and signs and something to hold on to. Or some people were 1 centimeter dilated or 2. I never got my cervix checked, so I didn't know if I was dilated or not. But when I tell you, I was not having nothing. No mucus plug, nothing. Not even a little purge, nothing. The only thing I was doing was I was swelling a lot. I was big. My face everywhere was big. My fingers, I couldn't really make a fist that well. Rings were a thing of the past for me. My Crocs, which is like a size bigger than my foot originally, couldn't fit. I couldn't get my foot in my Crocs. That's how big I was. I was like, everybody seems to be progressing except me. So I tried everything, and can I tell you, nothing worked. I got so frustrated. I would wake up in the night, and every little thing I would be like, oh my god, is this a sign? And Google was my best friend during that time, because I'm like, oh my god, this might be a sign, that might be a sign. Nothing, girl. Sis was seeing nothing. So I decided to stop. And I just accepted that I'd be pregnant forever. That's what it felt like. I would just be pregnant forever, for the rest of my life. When I stopped, I was just chilling. So I'd be just a big lazy bug in bed every day. I just sit, I'd watch, I'd just relax. You know, I was just like, you know what? Baby will come when he is ready. I was told that, but I didn't want to accept it. I was forced to accept it. Now, I was by no means okay with going overdue, which I thought I would have gone overdue, but I delivered at 39 weeks and 4 days. So this is how it went. I got up on the 23rd of September. I got up about 5 o'clock in the morning because I had a midwife appointment that day. We got up. While getting ready, it's like something in the back of my head just said to me, take some pictures. Like, just take some pictures of your belly, get some belly shots. And while I was taking pictures, it was just like, it hit me like, whoa, your belly is really big. You are really big. You don't have much longer. So, okay, that's all done. Photo shoot, wrap up, and gone. I went to the appointment and I got back. So when I got back home, I came home with a referral because at the appointment I was explaining to the midwife that I was having this discharge. I knew it wasn't my mucus plug, and I wasn't sure if it was my water or not, because it was enough, TMI, it was enough to wet an underwear, but it wasn't enough to fill a pad, if you know what I mean. And it wasn't clear. Amniotic fluid is clear, and it wasn't clear. It looked milky white, but it was heavy. So I explained to her. She checked. She couldn't get enough sample, because I don't know, the way she was checking, it was really painful, so she couldn't really get a sample from me. So she wrote a referral and she sent me to the hospital. And I got home, I was just like, it's just a referral, it's just a check. This is not amniotic fluid, so I don't really have to go in right now. I can go and finish up my Grey's Anatomy series, I can grab something to eat, I can relax. And sure enough, that's what I was about to do. And so my mom said to me, she's going down that side, so why don't I just, go now? So I left, my mom and my brother, we left, and I was on my way there. We stopped in Half Moon Tree. I got some call credits on my phone, and what else? I think I got something to drink, I'm not sure. And then we head to the hospital. We're not far from the hospital, we're like 10 minutes away with traffic. Without traffic, you can get there in probably 5 minutes. On my way there, because my brother and my mother were on the road doing something else, but they offered to carry me there because they were going that side, but that's not what they were on the road for. My brother's car was in the carpool, so he was supposed to get it back. So I was traveling with them, and we didn't head straight to the hospital. We kind of made a stop. So I had stopped at the carpool, and I noticed I was still outside in the car while they went in and they were dealing with what they were dealing with. And I noticed while I was sitting there, I started feeling some cramping, but I thought it was because of the bumpy ride that I was in on my way there, and these roads ain't that nice, so I was thinking that was it. I noticed that things started progressing really quickly. At this point, I called my friend Masters, and I was explaining to him what was going on and yada 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 yada, along with the car and the carpool and everything. Okay, all said and done, we leave the carpool, we go to someplace else. Now these cramps are getting more over to the contraction side, so I started timing them. I was using this app called, I think it's Contraction Timer, I don't remember the name, but I started timing them, and they were about 5 minutes apart. Right off the bat, started 5 minutes apart. So I realized this, by the time I got to the hospital, they were picking up, like they were really picking up. And mind you, the time from the last stop we made to the hospital, it wasn't a long time. It was just like, I don't know, 10 minutes the most. So when I got to the hospital, I was there. They were dealing with a lot of people. It was a really full day. But anyways, my mom and my brother came. They left and then they came back at about 6 o'clock. And by the time my mom came back, mind you, from the point I left my house at about 1-2 o'clock, and I got to the hospital around 3-4 because of all of the stops in between. So I saw my mom and my brother at about 6 o'clock. Then I got checked a little after. When I got checked, I was really just conditioning my mind to hear probably about a 1 or 2 centimeters, even though I was in pain. Like, I couldn't talk. At first I could talk throughout the contractions, and it came to a point where I couldn't speak throughout them. I'd have to stop what I'm doing, focus on the contraction at hand, and then I'd talk afterwards. So I was trying not to build my hopes up to hear any 4 or 5 centimeters. I was conditioning my mind to hear 1, because I knew if I thought I'd hear 4 or 5 and I heard a 1, I'd be so disappointed because I was in pain. Let me tell you, I was in pain. So I got checked, and right when I got checked, I was 4 centimeters dilated. I was just like, whoa, so this is happening. But even though there's a lot of persons who, when they feel contractions, they're not sure if it's labor or not, for me, I was sure right then and there. When I realized they were picking up, I was just like, this is it, there's no turning back from here. I was sure that I was in labor, without a doubt. So I was checked in. They didn't send me home. They saw the referral, didn't pay that much mind, because by the time I got to the hospital, the referral wouldn't even make sense because I'm in active labor now. So I got checked in, and I'm there. I'm laboring now. When I tell you that I was really managing these contractions, they're painful, but for me, what worked for me is I focused on what I was dealing with currently. So I wasn't thinking about how much contractions I've had already, or how long I've been contracting, or neither did I think about how long more would I be doing this. I was just focused on the one at hand, and I tried to reserve a lot of my energy for pushing. So I tried not to really let the contraction get a hold of me. So I tried to do a lot of breathing techniques. I'd breathe with the contraction. I'd take deep breaths. I found what worked for me, because there was that thing that holds the IVs, that metal thing. It was right beside my bed, so I would hold on to that and pull in my upper body. But while holding to that metal thing, it really helped. People use a lot of different coping techniques. Some people would sway their bodies. I was doing that in the first half when I was like 5 centimeters apart, but when I was about 7 centimeters dilated, that wouldn't work for me. I couldn't really stand. So holding on to something when that contraction came was working for me. There are other persons who would hit stuff, who would squeeze stuff. Pulling was really my coping mechanism, and breathing as well. So I was there, and there was just like, for a moment I really broke down. And it's really important to just try to stay as positive as you can while laboring, because even a second of breaking down will really just, it will affect the whole entire process. So if you've been doing strong so far, you just try to stick through it, you know. So for me, I had a 1 minute breakdown. I was really exhausted, because at this point it was about 10 in the night, and I've been laboring from about 2 o'clock in the day, 2 p.m. and it's now 10 p.m. There's a couple of hours well, and I was really tired. Even though I was reserving my energy, I was still really tired, because these contractions are no joke, man. And at this point, my contractions were so close together. They were like a minute apart. And I was so exhausted, and I called my mom on the phone, and I wasn't crying, but I was so exhausted to the point where it would sound like I'm crying. My voice literally cracked. And I was just like, Mommy, I'm so tired. I can't do this anymore. And I really believed I couldn't do this anymore. I was like, I'm gonna die. For about a minute. I had a really bad breakdown point. But after I hung up the phone, I kind of like pulled it together, and I was just like, listen, I've been doing this for so long, and even though it's getting harder, the contractions are getting stronger and closer together. It just means that I'm closer to the finish line than I was when I started, and I'm almost done. So I was still laboring. This is about after 10 going on 11 in the night, and I was just like, okay, whoa, I'm feeling a lot of pressure down here. And mind you, this is all natural, so no pain relief, no epidural, no laughing gas, nothing. So I was there, and I'm like, okay, I'm almost done. Just stick through it, Paula. Stick through it. When I started bearing down is when I felt all the pressure down there, and I got this urge to push. Mind you, I wasn't 10 centimeters dilated yet. I wasn't checked again afterwards. I wasn't sure how far I was, but I knew I was really close to 10, but I wasn't 10 just yet, because I had just been checked and I was 7. So I was there, and then the pressure got so bad to the point where I started pushing, and this nurse came and she was like, Mommy, don't push. Not try to fight the urge to push. And it's so hard, because it's something like, you ever wanted to sneeze and somebody be like, don't sneeze? It's like a reflex, it's like an urge. So it's like, it's so hard to not push, and I was just there trying so hard. I was pushing here and there, because it does relieve some of the pressure that you're feeling. A lot of pressure down here, not weight, pressure. So I was there, and then I was laboring for a little while longer, and then I'm like, no, I cannot fight this urge anymore. I'm like, nurse, I am ready. She comes, she checks me, she's like, no, you're not ready. I was just like, no, I am ready. So I got up off the bed. Mind you, my contractions are like not even a minute apart, they're like 45 seconds apart. So to get up and find a nurse before the next contraction comes back on, is a lot. When I say it's a lot, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Anyways, I found another nurse and she checked me. She's like, oh my god, you're ready. I'm like, that is what I've been saying. I know I'm ready. I could feel him right there. I knew I couldn't hold no longer. So we start the process. I'm there now. My feet are in the two things on the side of the bed that holds your feet apart, and she's just like, oh, her water isn't broken. Hold on, let's go find the stuff to break the water. Mind you, I want to push, and they're like, don't push, you have to pant, and panting is just like this. You breathe really fast to fight the urge of pushing, which you're still feeling the urge nonetheless, but you can't push. So they find whatever they need to break the water, and they come in, they broke my water. Okay, we're now ready to push. She's just like, okay, we're gonna wait for the other contraction to come on. Waiting for the other contraction. Okay, it's here. She's like, okay, no noise in the labor room. What you're gonna do is you're gonna follow instructions. You're gonna fold your lips. You're gonna bring your chin down to your chest. You're gonna hold on to the back of your legs like this, and you're gonna push. You're gonna push like you wanna poo. That's what she said to me. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And I was there, I was pushing. She was just like, okay, you're doing good. Okay, stop. Mind you, stopping in the middle of pushing is the hard, because you want to push. That's all you want to do. You want to push. So she's like, stop. And she was feeling for the cord around his neck. The cord wasn't there, so she was just like, okay, you're gonna start to feel some burning, which this was my biggest fear going into labor, because I've always heard about the ring of fire, and I think that was I feared feeling the ring of fire more than I feared laboring for hours. And trust me, it lives up to its name. It really is the ring of fire. So she was just like, you're gonna feel burning. Do not stop pushing when you feel burning. You're gonna continue to push, okay? I was just like, okay. I'm there pushing, and I start to feel that burn, and I was just like, holy crap, this is more than a ring of fire. I held me, I go for this. And then she was just like, okay, you're doing good, the head's out. I was just like, as soon as the head's out, the ring of fire, it kind of calms down. Like, they throw some water and out a little bit of the fire, but you're still feeling burning. She was like, you're doing amazing. You are doing amazing for a first time mom. Then she was just like, okay, we're gonna get the shoulders out now. And she was just like, okay, let's push again. So I'm there pushing again, and the shoulders came out almost like a minute after the head, and that was all in about 3 to 4 pushes, and I was pushing for about 5 to 10 minutes at most. And then he came out, and it was just like, as soon as he was out, all the pain stopped. The contractions, the agony, the burning, everything stopped. And then he was just there on my chest. He was really warm, by the way. He was so warm. He was just there on my chest. But they didn't leave him on my chest for that long. I wanted to do skin to skin, but he had passed meconium inside. So they had to take him away. They had to suction him. They were giving him oxygen and so on. They were contemplating if they wanted to take him to the nursery, but they didn't, because he was doing well. But they suctioned him, and they had him on oxygen for some minutes, maybe about half an hour. And I was there, and it was just so real. So then we move on to the third stage of labor, to deliver the placenta. Now they came, they were feeling around my belly a little bit. They were like squeezing, massaging my tummy to get the placenta out. They gave me a shot of oxytocin to get the uterus contracting so that I don't bleed out. And delivering the placenta felt like it felt so weird actually. It felt like one big blob of slime. It's just like, oh, it felt so weird. And I saw it, and it was just like, it's the most intricate thing I've ever looked at. The veins and everything going across, I'm like, whoa. It was really cool to look at. After that, I was helped into, my maternity pads and so on, and then I had my baby. And it was just like, Wow. Oh, wait. How can I forget this part? The midwife, she said to me, the midwife who delivered him, she, while pushing, she said to me, "This is going so smooth, I don't even think you're gonna get stitches." Boy, was she wrong. I got a 2nd-degree tear, and that was not from pushing while delivering. It was from me pushing before I was supposed to push. So that urge that I was feeling while laboring to push, and I was giving into it sometimes, that's what made me get my tear. And I cannot count how many stitches I got. It's a lot. It's a lot. She was there stitching for about 10 minutes. I got so frustrated and so irritated. I started crying while she's stitching, because she tried to numb me, but it just didn't work. It really didn't work. So I was feeling everything, but it was just all so worth it. You have your baby in your hand and you just completely forget. You completely forget everything that you just went through a couple minutes ago. So that was my labor and delivery story. You guys have any questions or so on, you guys can leave them in the comments and I'll get to them. Yeah, it's the most intense experience I've ever had, and it will always be something that I'll remember exactly how it felt and how I felt throughout the whole ordeal. And it just reminds me, every time I think of it, it just reminds me how strong I am as a female. And females before me have been doing this, females after me will still be able to do this. And for any mamas or mamas to be out there, whenever you ever feel like any type of fear approaching labor and delivery, you just need to remember that there are females worldwide rooting for you, who have been through this, who will be going through this. It's nothing to be afraid of. It is challenging, I will give it that much. It is really challenging. It's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do, but in challenges and in fear, your most vulnerable self comes alive, and it's just untamed and unconditioned, and it's just so real and so intense. So you got this. Until next time, thanks for watching.